Welcome everyone. Welcome to a new session, great session by Park Lounge. My name is Zeeshan. I'm investment director at Wide Ventures. Wide Venture is a $200 million fund by Saudi Aramco. We are focused in investing in Saudi Arabia and the region. After spending like 10 years or so in this region, I thought, I wanted to find an opportunity to sort of plug into Pakistani ecosystem. And I was talking to my friends, my portfolio companies, whatever the connection I had in Pakistan to really get me in through some channel, right? So one of my colleague, good friend of mine, Dr. Suhaib, connected me with Ali, and that's that from that 2-3 weeks ago, and then I'm part of a great family. For the new members, Park Lounge is a great initiative by Ali. He's doing a great job. It's a platform that connects Pakistani professionals, investors, founders, entrepreneurs, mentors, helping each other, sharing their experiences. Sourcing deals is one of the key. I think, and I have already sourced one deal through this channel. So this is a great news. So coming back to the topic, so we have a great, exciting topic today, which is why traditional PE and VC model doesn't work in Pakistan. So when I received this topic, actually, I was thinking I've been trying to do some research about what is the difference between traditional and what doesn't work in non-traditional manner. So a very good chat with you, Malik. So I think we'll have a lot to discuss, good points about the topic here. But our topic of the discussion would be more focused on the quality of entrepreneurs and the talents, right? So let's move on. Before I go forward, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Ahmad Jalal, Malik. For the newcomers, I think most of the people know you, but for the newcomers, so he's Ahmad Jalal is founder and CEO of Zambeel Partners and Cordoba Ventures, based out of Karachi, and he will be our expert for today discussing about this very interesting topic. So I'll be taking questions in last 15-20 minutes. So you can write your questions in the chat box. So forgive me if I missed any of the questions, but you can reach out to us anytime if there's something you want to discuss. So over to you, Mr. Ahmed. Before you start, I think it's good if you can just give us a very brief about yourself and your journey.
Great, Zeeshan, and thank you very much, everyone. मैं अभी बता रहा था कि Zeeshan को कि all of us get together on Sunday evening. We have other things to do on Sunday evening, and yet we are able to spend our time together for matters concerning Pakistan. I think that's the most important element. So we are very passionate about Pakistan. We are passionate about doing the right thing for Pakistan and all about learning and doing the right thing. So it's all credit to Park Launch and Ali and Waqas and the entire team for doing that. So मैं अपना experience के बारे में बताऊंगा because it's weaved into my presentation. The fact of the matter is, why should you listen to me? Why do I have, just the old Greeks कहते थे, ethos, logos, pathos? Why do I have the track record, the logic, or the emotions to convey this message or convey this case to you, why you should listen to me? So मैं उसके ऊपर थोड़ी देर में आऊँगा, लेकिन उससे पहले मैं थोड़ा सा पाकिस्तान के बारे में, I will try to explain the macro view of investing in Pakistan, some macro trends about Pakistan, and I'm going to go into my experience. And then I'm going to go and talk about some real insights, like hardcore operating insights that I was able to get. I was like you, for most of you, I was a diaspora. I lived abroad for 19 years. And 19 साल के बाद पाकिस्तान में I landed in Korangi, part of Karachi. I didn't land up in a very posh part of Pakistan. I landed up in a what you call a lesser developed part of Karachi. So I got really hardcore, deep operational insights from real Pakistan. And real Pakistan is what lies beyond defense and Clifton and the rest of the Pakistan that it is. I will take advantage because I'm not that smart. So I will take advantage of a presentation that I've prepared and I'm going to share it with you. Hopefully it will make it structured and more informative discussion for us. I hope, are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, I can see that.
So great. So this is about how do you make private equity venture capital work in Pakistan. This is not about criticism. This is not about taking someone down. This is about we have limited amount of money comes to Pakistan. How do you make that money go further? In Pakistan, one of the things is we will be very nice to each other. We will be very formal with each other. Murawat mein hum sahi baat nahi karte. And in the end, we may not be able to succeed or learn from each other. And so the country would suffer. So I think from my own experience, it is better to be very upfront, to be very direct about what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, and how can we overcome it, rather than to be surface level, अच्छी एक दूसरे से बात करें और कहे यार well done, you're doing all a good job. Because as I said, money is very scarce. Whatever money that comes to Pakistan, we have to use it to the best of our ability. So, and that comes from, and most of this thing, I'm not saying these are 100% correct. This is my experience, my limited experience. Think of it as pointers and insights for your own investing experience in Pakistan. One thing I want to make it clear. My conversation is very specifically in the end directed towards diaspora, because I believe you can play a role in helping the venture capital space, but there is a specific gap that you can fill out, which is not money. Okay, which is something else. And I think if you do that and you bring the money, you will have an exponential impact. And I think a lot of times we try to say money is the main thing that is missing. It's often not the case. So let's go into the presentation. Let me make the case for it. So this is the quintessential Pakistani experience. Shahid Afridi. You know, if there's one thing that defines and makes us all very excited and excitable, it is Lala. And Lala refused to go. Lala refused to retire. And he's been going on and on and on and on. And I don't know last time he played very well, but we love Lala, basically. The Lala is our life because he represents the raw consciousness of Pakistan, you know, and just look at this picture. It represents very much a Pakistani situation. It is his aspiration. The aspiration is a chakka. Yeah, it's a high aspiration. So we are very emotional and we want to aim high and we want to hit the ball out of the park. So he's all set for it, except his eyes is closed. So he's not aware of the reality of the ball, where it is. And he's unprepared. His footwork is a bit off. You can see he's a bit off balance. So he's not done the groundwork. And guess what happened? Killi ukhad gayi. So you have high aspirations, you have high ambitions, and yet that doesn't translate into a chakka or doesn't translate into it. If there's anything Shahid Afridi innings reflects that you know, it's once he succeeds, but 9 times he fails. And all of you guys who've built great businesses, work in great businesses, you realize that that's not the way to build big businesses. Ke aap ek chakka mare aur agli ball pe bold ho jaye, and you repeat that over and over again. That's not the way to build global class businesses, but that represents the essence of Pakistan. If there is one article I want you to read, and it's not my article, so I'm telling you, it's called Time to Become Misbah Nation. It's a nation 2015 में आया था जिसके मैं कोट किया है इसको रीड करें. It tells you all about what is the psyche of Pakistan. Why don't we like Misbah? Do you remember why don't we like Misbah? Why is it so unpopular?
So the question is, if it's Misbah, then we cannot exit any deal for 20 years if it's Misbah. So we can settle down in the middle, maybe at the Razak probably.
Maybe we can. Maybe I think you're right. Maybe we can. But the thing is, we hate him because he's tuk guy. You know, he's steady guy. Tuk is an insult in Pakistan. I want to hit the ball out of the park, but I don't want to do the basic groundwork to build my innings. And that's what the article says. It's right beautifully. A typical Afridi innings plays like a typical Pakistani's day-to-day life. Will include all of the following: taking the shortcut, to reach the refusal to lay the foundation of the task in hand. Like, it's like, I'll do it today. I'm not going to care about tomorrow. I'm not going to build the foundation for tomorrow. And unwillingness to apply oneself to achieve the desired goal, paying little or no heed to teamwork. We are not great team players. I mean, you know, particularly when get together. It's a bit harsh, but it's a real article. It's a real article written by a very renowned, very famous bureaucrat, actually, who wrote that. And I thought it represents the nation of us. So this is the quintessential Pakistani experience. And I always say, and this is my experience in Pakistan. Pakistan is a fascinating country. And it is a country where you can have the best experience and the worst experience of your life in the same day. Literally, I mean, you can be really blown out of the park because of the great things that happen. And then you can really have a very bad experience because basic things don't work. So my thing about this is, and this is, again, my other thing that I'm talking about is, I'm now talking about the not individual experiences. I'm talking about the market as a whole, the average market. What is the experience? And that's the experience in Pakistan. So what my main thesis is, it is very challenging to build a scaled quality ops business with this level of inconsistency and erraticness. There is a degree of erraticness that has somehow, जब मैं बड़ा हो रहा था, and I left Pakistan in 1996 to do my undergraduate, उस वक्त वो इतनी erraticness नहीं थी हमारे यहाँ. हमारे फिर भी steady, slow and steady got it. Somehow, and I think it's over a period of time, other countries have the same thing as well, but हमारे यहाँ ज़्यादा हो गया है, which is that inconsistency or erraticness जो है वो ज़्यादा हो गई है. We can't build a consistent quality global business unless there is proper process, proper structure, people have discipline. And these are the things that are lacking. So that is my basic premise of what is the average. Now, I'm not talking about the top 10 to 30% GK graduates. I'm not talking about the top 30% LUMS graduates or IBA graduates. I mean, they're great and they're as good as the world, but I can't build a scaled business by just 20, 30% of graduates of the top elite 5% university. I need 5,000 people, good quality coders to be able to do that. And I'm not able to do that. This is where the problem arises. You know, we love the distribution. You're all engineers. I'm not an engineer. I used to do a lot of maths, but that was a long time ago. So please don't hold me to account for it. This is the distribution, normal distribution. Now, the reason why things work in the West, why things work in the West is because the experience that we have of the worst and the good is in the medium. जो दरमियान में आपको blue sign है, उसके अंदर है. Your good is not too good or your bad is not too bad. You're somewhere in the middle, but you have consistency. In the consistency, you can make long-term decision making, you can make long-term planning, and you, by the way, know that you're going to pick a candidate, he will be able to do X, Y, Z. You broadly, that is the case in most OECD countries, most developed countries. Yeah. The thing about Pakistan is that the distribution is very spread. So you can pick up just by chance a person on the right who's the top of the world, but more likely you're going to pick up a guy who's going to really make you suffer in terms of talent acquisition and hiring people who are not that good quality, who will come and who are don't have the skill, don't have the right value system, and don't have the right value system. So there is this breadth of the variation that makes operating very difficult, particularly around talent. And that's why, you know, when you go to Silicon Valley, you go to London, you know, you have a certain level of talent. Everyone is almost the same, but some are exceptional. But, you know, everyone is around the median or above. ये हमारे यहाँ नहीं है. हमारे यहाँ you can be on extreme. दूसरी बात ये, and this is what I and Zeeshan talked about.
Can I ask a question?
Or
can I ask a question later, or you know?
Can you write your question in your chat box? So
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for interruption.
No problem. That's fine. At least you're listening. That's a good thing. So the first topic, the experience of the tails does not represent the bell curve. ये मैं आजकल मैं जॉर्डन पीटरसन को बहुत सुनता हूँ. जॉर्डन पीटरसन आपको पता है कि Canadian psychologist, is a bit controversial, but he talks about it. He said, look, you know, मेरी ज़ीशान से भी बात हुई थी. ज़ीशान से कहा, Pakistan is a great talent. What are you talking about? You know, yes, there is, but you know, the talent that we deal with is the tails, is the top talent. It's the 5%, 10% of the top talent. And that is the one that you engage with and that one you see. But that doesn't represent the entire bell curve. Entire bell curve means the entire breadth of the talent that is available. It's not. So when you have look at Pakistan, you have 445,000 university graduates and 80,000 computer science graduates. I'm talking about, I think if you take GIK, NUST, FAST, you're talking about top graduates, maximum 3,000 to 4,000 graduates coming out of Pakistan who are at the top of the league and can be helped be the backbone of a global quality top class organization. But the rest of the quality is not that great. And you need a lot of people to be of a certain average quality in order for you to build good business. Your average has to be sufficiently high. If your average is low, it's very difficult to build great businesses. So whilst I agree that Pakistani talent, and a lot of you might say, this is not an experience, but do not make a mistake of confusing your experience of the tails, the top 10, the top 15% with the entire bell curve. It is a different story altogether. So what does
sorry, it's in last slide. So what's the benchmark? How are we comparing this? From my experience, what I've seen in the Middle East, there is talent, right? There are a lot of talent. So even our portfolio companies that are here in Saudi or in the Middle East, MENA region, if you say 50% or 30-40% at least, their tech team would be sitting in Pakistan. Probably some would be in Lebanon, Jordan. But we have seen a lot of talent sitting here. And that's why we pinpointed, and we have, and that is actually one of the reasons I was really interested to know more about this ecosystem. But sitting at your place, since you are sitting in the market, what you have seen, so is there any benchmark you're comparing these talents to? Is it US, European market only, or maybe some, emerging economies?
Yeah, first of all, the benchmark that I use is probably what I've experienced in other parts of the world, basically London, Dubai, and the US. So that's what I'm benchmarking against. So number one, that is one. But I'm not even talking about that kind of talent. I mean, that talent will be anywhere present in like 15 to 20% of the market. I'm talking about the basic discipline, the basic collaboration, the soft skills that one needs to be able to learn, to have the right value system in order to build, be part of a team culture. I think that is something that we are lacking. I'll give you an example. I have hired 200 people at one point in my organization. I've hired people all the way from the CEO of a pharmaceutical company with $160 million, जो कि मेरे CEO होता था, to an administration of Mobilink का उसका किया था. मैंने 200 बंदे करीब हायर किया और मैं खुद इंटरव्यू करता था because I wanted to control talent. I will not hire more than 6 of them again. So this can mean only two things. I am a very lousy interviewer. I choose very loud. I make very bad calls, but I think 200 is a lot, and I should have improved over time. I don't think so. I think the when you look at the Excel, the excellence, the drive for excellence, the discipline, the idea for design, the quality, I think, as I said, by far that is missing. Your experience could be different because you have a back office of a company that is probably able to hire best local talent and pay them at dollar or real rates. You're able to hire them, but these are not, you're not serving the local market, because if you have the ability to pay them what the local market can afford, most of the talent that you'd be able to get, the average talent would be much lower quality. So even what you
don't have any CEO at the top companies, right? Like we have seen Indian CEOs sitting in top companies around the world, but we don't see a lot in Pakistani CEOs sitting there, right?
Absolutely. I think Fred Hassan was the last one. Fareed Hassan, जो Monsanto का CEO होता था, pharmaceutical company का, उसके बाद से पाकिस्तान के इतने नहीं हैं. That's a different, but I'm saying that individually has happened. And again, I'm talking about a mass market. So I'm talking about 80,000 computer science graduates. Do we have every year 20,000 computer science graduates who can do top level programming, coding? I think most people will agree with that. I think if you go and ask, and I have asked people in these organizations, if you go and ask Airlift or Keep Trucking, and you ask them, if you were to hire 500, 1,000 coders in any city, what would happen? They would tell you that it will move the market. It will move the market. The market is not there. I think they would say that. So I think that's the. So my thing is, and I'm going to come into why I feel that way. So Pakistan is a land of opportunity. It's a land of opportunity, but there are very few deals. So it's like water everywhere, but very few deals. By deals, what do I mean by deals? So for a deal to happen, you need the business opportunity. Of course, the market has to be growing, and there is no dearth in it. There's no dearth in the market of opportunity and the growth that is happening. Ye bilkul hai, bilkul. Then secondly, you need a business model which is able to capture that opportunity. You need people, entrepreneurs with a mindset who come up with a business model. They take advantage of the opportunity in a profitable manner. They can build a scale business. But there's a third element in that opportunity, in converting opportunity into deal that is very scarce. And that is the entrepreneurial team. That is the catalyst in Pakistan that brings the whole thing together. And that is the reason why Pakistan hasn't had a Reliance. Pakistan hasn't had a Bharti Airtel. Pakistan hasn't had an Mahindra and Mahindra. Pakistan hasn't had that. Pakistan hasn't had billion-dollar companies. The only ones that have come close to are probably Engro. Engro has a foreign DNA. It comes out of Exxon, but now it's, of course, it's locally owned, but its DNA sara wo hai. Yeah, ICI hai. Again, ICI is foreign owned or foreign origins hai. So ye jo catalyst hai na entrepreneur ka, that I found, and I'll share with you some of my experiences, because I did raise a $93 million fund that we were not able to deploy. We were not able to deploy $93 million because we could not find the right entrepreneurs to back. See, this is the very important thing. You will have a lot of opportunity. They look good, but both the quality of the entrepreneur and the value system, the quality of the entrepreneur in terms of the skill set and the proper value system, who want to have formal books, single bookkeeping, pay people the right way, have proper ESOPs and all those things, that's very rare. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I'm absolutely not saying that. But I'm saying you will find 5, probably 10 deals in a year, for which 10 VC firms are competing for those deals. And then what happens? You get priced out, and you know, it become very competitive market. Pakistan, the scale of the market, the size of the market should be producing 50, 60, 70 such venture capital. Actually, by the way, let me also correct it. This problem exists less in VC because of the tech. You see, tech is a great, I'm a big fan. I'm not a techie person. I'm a big fan of tech because it's a great equalizers. You face a global market. You have to behave like a global market, like a global player. So you need to have the proper process, formalization, in PE, when you go in the small, medium or large cap space, you don't have to do that because your market is local. You're selling it to your neighborhood. You're selling it to a local area. So you don't care what's happening in the rest of the world. And most of the time, what I found and there was that the people that I wanted to invest in didn't need my money. So people I wanted to invest in didn't need my money, and the people who needed my money was not the ones that I would want to invest in. See? Because जो अच्छे businessman हैं और जो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, उनको पैसे की जरूरत नहीं है. They're making enough money on its own. And the ones who are not doing well, but ones who are informal or may not be playing by the rule book in terms of tax transparency, tax avoidance, वो आपके पैसे की जरूरत है, उनको जरूरत है, मगर आप उसमें invest नहीं करना चाहते. So you have got in a situation whereby there are few deals than market allows for, and there are far too much money, or at least too much money, that is chasing those deals. So that is what I feel. Now I'm going to go into my own experience, because why should you listen to me? See? Why should you spend Sunday afternoon listening to me telling you that it's difficult and everything. And I always believe the Greeks, the ethos, logos, and pathos. The ethos is what is my personal credibility. My personal credibility is I trained as a chartered accountant in Deloitte in London. I worked at Goldman Sachs for 5 years. I was an investment banker. I was an executive director. So I did all of that. I was faced the financial crisis. Lehman's went down. I was on the trading floor. I was part of the structured investments team. I left Goldman Sachs immediately after that. I wanted to do something that related to impact. I went to Harvard Kennedy School to study how development takes place, how countries grow, and how do you help countries and companies grow. And I realized one thing is the countries don't grow through donation, charity. We may get excited about charity, but that's not how countries grow. Countries don't grow through donors, through the USAID or DFID. Countries grow through the power of entrepreneurs. See, the countries grow through the power of the small venture becoming a medium-sized venture becoming a large-sized venture, the large venture generating a lot of taxation. From taxation, you put money into education and health, and you uplift the whole society and economy. You do that. So, that was one of the things, and that's why I'm very passionate about both venture, both investing, growing it, and doing it myself. That took me to Amman, Jordan, and I was one of the very first part of a fund called Riyadh Enterprise Development Fund. We were investing in SMEs, mostly in Jordan, but in also Lebanon, in Tunisia. That again took me to abroad, which is again a long story, and a story I'm sure a lot of people would want to hear, because I worked with them for 5 years with them, and that could be some other time. But again, I went into a private equity investing in SME. There, as it says, I was originated and raised a fund that was a $93 million fund. उसमें USAID था, उसमें British CDC थे, उसमें Dutch FMO था, और उसमें some US private investors भी थे. So we raised $93 million fund. And this is the fund that I wanted to talk about, that we were only able to deploy 2 deals, about $40 million in a matter of 2.5 years, because the deals weren't there, and eventually the fund had to be closed. अच्छा, वो जब मैं कर रहा था, तो I always wanted to be in Pakistan, so I came back to Pakistan, and I got offered this role called at the Aman Foundation, which was a great foundation at, working in Korangi. Ambulances होते थे, हमारे Gates and Packet के साथ programs थे, community health workers के, और हमारा vocational training institute था. So imagine, I was a guy, the maximum number of people I had managed was about 10 to 12 people. In investment in Goldman Sachs or abroad, and suddenly I was managing people who were 1800 banda, 1800 people. See? So, and previously, whether you're Goldman or Braj, you're meeting with people who are mostly from Ivy League or Lums and IBA. Now I was dealing with people who are from TCF schools to local universities, Karachi University, IBA, Lums to Ivy League schools. So it was a great learning experience. I made a lot of mistakes in the first year, but I was able to do a transformation of the enterprise. And those enterprises, they were losing about $1 million a month. And I've cut the cost down to about $300,000. And I can tell you some of the stories about it. For instance, one of the vocational training institute, I cut the number of people down from 247 to 127. So 247 to 127, almost half कर दिया था. And our outcomes doubled. हमारे जो हैं, हम पहले 800 या 900 बंदा ग्रेजुएट करते थे, अब हम 2500 बंदा ग्रेजुएट करने लगे. It just tells you the kind of sometimes inefficiency that is built into the organization that you have to do. You have to put it together. So in a way, the experience, and this is no great success of my own, because it kind of happened because of God's will. I got a chartered accountancy experience, the investment banking experience, the private equity experience, the venture capital experience, because I made some venture capital deals in the end, and the operating experience in the end for 5 years, 4 years, running a very operational company, enterprise operations. जो ambulances चलाते हैं, उनको manage करना. And the ambulances go into Liari, they go into future colony. These are hard parts of Karachi. There's no dealing in defense in Clifton, and to understand those parts and those problems of Karachi and dealing with that and making things work, that is the kind of experience that I got, and that has got me to these conclusions. कि पाकिस्तान में आपको किस तरह आप ऑपरेट है, किस तरह आप वैल्यू क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. So in the way I did VC, growth capital, P investment in Europe, Levant, GCC in Pakistan. Europe में मैंने Goldman Sachs के लिए private equity investments की थी. And then I did ops turnaround restructuring of a enterprise, and I've been board members of some small enterprises. So it's a mix of both operating, investment banking, private equity experience that has led me to here. So here now we go into the insights that we have. And here are the insights. So sorry, first going to a pathos. Pathos is emotions. So in order to convince someone, you need to have credibility, but you need to have emotion. So at the peak of my career, I was 37. I left everything and I went back to Pakistan. Okay. And that was a big thing at that time, because I could have stayed back and in London or in Dubai or in US and stayed there. But I thought I needed to be here because I do believe there are opportunities still here. It needs to be captured in a certain way, but I do believe that the opportunity is here, and I think that's where I can make the most impact. I always say in Pakistan, bahar mein, it's like when I'm abroad, it's like I'm sitting on top of an ocean liner. ठीक है, कुछ होता है, I have very little to do with the direction of the ship. Here, I'm in like a sports car. So I can feel the engine, the heat of the engine, the oil. I've got the steering wheel in my hand. I can turn it around and I can do those things. So I have much more impact, but it's a lot more challenging. There's huge variation in day-to-day operations.
Sorry, don't you think, as I mentioned here, you're like sitting on a sports car, so you have to customize these sports cars according to the roads of Pakistan, right? The streets of Pakistan. So, I mean, is it right to say, if you're comparing the talents that we have in the European market, and plus you're talking about VC and P, right? So can we separate these two? Because when we come and we say VC and overall ecosystem in Pakistan, what I believe is, it's still very early, and time is the important thing where you can produce more entrepreneurs in time. And for India, they are having, like, for example, 1,000 companies a year, and we have 700-800 companies, startups in last 8 or 10 years. So that is the difference, right? So we have success stories, and from there, so for example, take an example of Kareem. So we have 9 more companies. I mean, all those ex-Kareems are, producing more effective startups. So don't you think, like, with time, so we are at the right track, and we believe that probably next 1 or 2 years, we'll have some success stories, and based on that, we'll produce more entrepreneurs, right?
No, absolutely. I think that's why I'm here. I mean, the biggest proof of the pudding is I'm still sitting here after 5-6 years. So I do think directionally we're in the right direction, but I do think it will take longer than most people imagine, because the inbuilt breaks in the system, कभी तो धरना हो जाता है, तो कभी कुछ और हो जाता है, तो कभी कुछ और हो जाता है, वो इतने ज़्यादा obstacles हैं कि आपको उसको करते करते बहुत time लग जाता है, जो just the time I'm going to come into it. But absolutely right. I think Pakistan's directory, and Kareem has been a fantastic story. Kareem in a way was what Maktoub पहले जो जॉर्डन में किया था, जिसने जॉर्डन को बनाया था, Kareem will do it for Pakistan and for the Middle East. So absolutely I agree with that. So here is the reason why.
Sorry. So what I'm saying is we are already late into this picture. But again, I mean, but as you mentioned, you're right. I mean, we have a lot of challenges. It's not about entrepreneurs or the deployable or availability of the talents probably, but other stakeholders like regulations, government, political situation in Pakistan, economic situation in Pakistan. So these things are also playing a very important role in, decelerating the overall speed of overall ecosystem.
देखो, absolutely I would think कि आपका जो है जब पहली दफा मैं CDC से मिलने गया था, Commonwealth Development Corporation 2014 में, तो उन्होंने आना था पाकिस्तान, but they said, and we can't come to Pakistan because there's a dharna going on, and the whole trip, which was the investment due diligence, it got delayed by 4 or 5 months, and 4 or 5 months, by 4 markets have moved, things have taken over, you're gone, you get one opportunity and bang, I think after that you've lost it. Unfortunately, our stakeholders are not that mature. State Bank or बाकी जगहों पे भी the rules and regulation, now they are loosening up. I think the current State Bank governor in terms of digital, अभी मैंने देखा था peer-to-peer lending platform है, ये सारी चीजें खुल रही हैं, ये अच्छी चीज है. But remember Nigeria, remember Kenya, they're way back. I mean 1980s, 90s में बचपन में खड़े होते थे, हम तो बहुत advance होते थे. India से भी advance होते थे, but उनसे भी होते थे. But the PE venture capital space of Nigeria, for them raising a $25 million round is not a big deal. It happens very, very commonly. उनमें साल में 3-4 कंपनियां हो जाएंगी उनकी. And you know, we should be way ahead of it because हमारा system ज़रा बेहतर है यार. हमारा अंग्रेजी बेहतर है, हमारी चीजें Anglo-Saxon world से ज़्यादा connected हैं. So coming back to this, the logos, why logic, why traditional PE-VC model doesn't work in Pakistan? So first of all, other countries are relatively stable and few exogenous shocks. ठीक है, जो कि मैंने आपको जिक्र किया. हमारी कंट्री में बहुत ज़्यादा स्टेक होल्डर्स की शॉक्स आते हैं. कभी हम AFPAC बन जाते हैं तो उसके हमारे मसले आ जाते हैं. ठीक है, तो कभी ईरान का मसला ब्लॉप हो जाता है तो हमारे ऊपर आ जाता है. ये कभी इंटरनल पॉलिटिकल मसला चल रहा होता है, कभी हमारी हाइब्रिड रिजीम है तो कभी हमारी डेमोक्रेटिक रिजीम है, कभी हमारा अलायंस फॉर रिस्टोरेशन और डेमोक्रेसी चल रहा है तो हमारा कभी PDM वो समथिंग डेमोक्रेटिक मूवमेंट चल रही होती है. तो आप देखते रहे कि पिछले 30 साल में तो कभी मूवमेंट फॉर रेस्टोरेशन और डेमोक्रेसी चल रही है, MRD, ARD, PDM, ये तो 30 सेकंड में 3 चीजें निकला. What happens? It kind of throws things off the board. आप बताएं, आप सऊदी अरेबिया में, you have in other country you need to have policy stability. ठीक, इंडिया की सबसे अच्छी बात क्या की थी when Narasimha Rao did the the deregulation, and Manmohan Singh and Montek Singh Ahluwalia, credit to Bajpayee, he did not undermine it, he continued with it. So उनके 5 साल policy continuity मिल गई और चीज it flew. हमारे वो policy continuity नहीं होती. So I call it as a relatively, हमारा exogenous shocks बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं. Stable currency, हमारी currency बहुत volatile है. Not that other currency volatile नहीं होती, but हमारे यहाँ जो political economy है, let me say, I'm going in the realm of politics. ठीक है, हमारी political economy के बहुत मसले हैं. We haven't solved some political economies issues. वो economic policy में आती हैं और it comes up in the depreciation FX effect आता है. जब तक आपकी वो चीजें नहीं सॉल्व होंगी, आपकी वो वॉलेटिलिटी रहेगी. Again, depth of talent of management bench strength. Again, as I said, is if you're looking for top level and middle level management, people who are disciplined, who have technically got skill, have proper value system, they will stick with you and culturally support you. मेरा एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है कि ये दैट इज वाइडली अवेलेबल. मैं आपको एक और एग्जांपल देता हूं. आई विल टेल यू वन थिंग. आई बिलीव, एंड दिस इज माय एक्सपीरियंस इन पाकिस्तान, एंड दिस इज अ बिट कंट्रोवर्शियल, एनीवन हु हैज कम टू अ डिफेंस और अ क्लिफ्टन लाइफस्टाइल, who have earned that lifestyle, who have arrived, basically have lost their hunger. ठीक, तो जिस तरह जहाज लैंड कर रहा होता है ना, थ्रॉटल में आ रहा होता है, पीपल आई फाउंड कि उनके अंदर जो हमारे जो वेस्ट में या लोगों के अंदर ड्राइव होती है, एनर्जी होती है टू गो एंड गेट थिंग्स डन, जो कि 55 साल में 60 साल में भी चल रही होती है, वो लोगों में somehow it gets diluted. People then are just protecting what they have. एक बार वो डिफेंस और डिफेंस लाइफस्टाइल में पहुंच जाते हैं. ठीक, दिस इज माय एक्सपीरियंस. दैट्स व्हाई मैं तो यंग लोगों को हायर करता हूं. मतलब I've always said hire people. अच्छा, by the way, again I will say to you, I have a certain rule book. It may not, people may not like it. If you are already in defense in a house, I view that as a disadvantage when I'm recruiting. I would rather hire people who are not from that background and who are have hunger, who have more drive, who are from the other side of town than people who are from here. Now, I live in this part of town. I'm not saying that there is a thing, but generally I found the energy, the drive, the excel, वो लोगों में कम हो जाती है जब वो when they have arrived, quote unquote, arrived at a certain place. Banking sector Pakistan ka is a hugely rent seeking sector. Hugely rent seeking. Matlab, if you have real estate property, they will rent to you. They will never lend to you based off your business model, cash flows, or they are not facilitative. They are basically named lenders, जो कि Middle East में भी होता है, उस पे होता है. So if you're a young entrepreneur, if you're a small, medium-sized enterprise, the banking sector doesn't support you. It doesn't facilitate your growth and does that. And the other thing is the debt capital market, जो है हमारी liquidity events को support नहीं इतना ज़्यादा करती है, because depth नहीं है. हमारे यहाँ जो number of retail investors, पता नहीं कोई कहता है 28,000 है, कुछ 30,000 है, कुछ players हैं, बड़े players हैं, they can move the market one direction or another. So these are by no means Pakistan की only things are to do with Pakistan. Hai. These are things that are to do with, these are the things that do with frontier economies generally. But I think that is the reason why we need a slightly customized model. And here is where we're going to go get into it. Investing and operational reality of Pakistan. So I've shared it so that you can also read it. I'm talking very fast. I've been told I need to slow down a bit, so I'll try to slow down, although when I get very excited, I do talk very fast. So holding period, देखो, traditional PE fund होता है 5 + 5 + 2. 5 साल आप इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, 5 साल आप उसको होल्ड करते हैं और 2 साल आपका एक्स्ट्रा होते हैं. अच्छा, बिकॉज पाकिस्तान में ये ऑपरेटिंग लेवरेज ज्यादा है, ऑपरेटिंग लेवरेज है. कभी इलेक्शंस हो जाते हैं, नहीं हो जाते, कभी धरना हो जाता है, कभी कुछ हो जाता है. Your cycle needs to be higher. Now let me also state to you, IFC, International Finance Corporation, has the best investment track record in Pakistan. It is one of the best markets they consider across emerging markets. But why? Because they have an 8 to 10 year investment horizon. Okay? They have an 8 because market you ja rahi hoti hai. If you do not, if you have 5 years, you have to get in and out 3 to 5 years, you can really lose your shirt. But if you have an 8 year horizon, you can ride the wave and you can come out on the end. Because the market ka jo ek technical, एक जो structural trend है वो है upward जा रहा है, वो upward जा रहा है. But you need time. अगर आप 5 साल में ही लगे रहे कि यार मैंने 5 साल में exit करना है, it will force you into a less valuable, into an early exit. So पहली बात ये है 8 years instead of 5 years of traditional funds to go through one political and economic cycle. मैं आपको बताया ना, हमारी political economy का मसला है, हमारी economics and policy का कोई मसला नहीं, हमारी political economy की जिसकी वजह से turbulence create होती है, जिसकी वजह से FX devaluate करता है. पर अगर आपके पास 8 साल investing hold कर सकते हैं, आप उसमें से cycle से निकल सकते हैं. So ये है medium becomes long. Lots of talent, limited deployable talent. Deployable, what do I mean by that? I'll give you an example of that. You come from, Zeeshan, sit on a region which is blessed with a lot of oil. See, oil is a resource, but you've seen it. Oil in itself is useless. It's a resource, but it's useless. Why? Because you need to convert first into refined products through refinery. उसको gasoline, ये kerosene, XYZ. तो आप उसको एक आग में डालते हैं, उसको evaporate करते हैं, वो ऊपर जाता है. ठीक है. अच्छा, ऊपर चला गया, वो आपने collect कर लिया, oil बन गए, gasoline बन गया, gas बन गया, सब बन गया. It is still useless. Because what would you do? Then you need a vehicle. Then you need a vehicle, or you need an engine, or you need a generator in order to use that resource and to deploy it. Without it, it's useless. So talent is like that. Talent is a resource, but without your ability to give it rigorous, disciplined, deep training and development, जो कि दिमाग को सीधा कर दे, बंदे का पुत्र बना दे, इंसान का जो है हमारे कल्चर उस तरह कर दे, वो रिफाइनमेंट होती नहीं है आपकी, जिस तरह एक ऑयल रिफाइनरी में आती है. ठीक. Then you need the right organizations जिनमें proper process, proper talent management, proper talent development है. For them to use that resource and to deploy them in a productive way. See? So just like you have an oil, you have human resources, and just like you have cars, you have companies, and in the middle you have training and you have refining. It's exactly the same thing. That's why a lot of people say, Pakistan is a lot of talent. You see a lot of talent, but this is raw talent. It's like oil. You can't do much with it.
Sorry, it's a very good point. It's a very good point. One can argue that we have a lot of talents, but you need an organization who can hire them and they can train them. So we need a lot of startups, a strong ecosystem to support them. Like it's a chicken and egg problem, right? So abhi graduation karke university se jo nikalta hai, and then he looks for a job and they are asking for experience. And the same situation here. So they have the talent, they have raw talent. I agree with that. But if we have more startups, more like, the stronger ecosystem later on, so probably that we can convert this raw talent to something, usable.
Absolutely. And that's where I come towards process. I come towards talent management. and I come towards all of that. My point, which you're going to find, is exactly about that cultural transformation. So now I talk about culture because this is not a culture. We are not talent managers. As a nation, we value real estate. We don't value people. You realize that, huh? हमें building दे दो, हमें property दे दो, हम खुश हो जाएंगे. But हमें बंदे की कदर नहीं है. ठीक है ना? बंदे की कदर. I'm sorry. I mean, this is a fact of life. I mean, this is what it is. That's why Silicon Valley में property की नहीं है, बंदे की कदर है. That's why the place is where it is. So absolutely, and I think you're absolutely right कि हम उसमें हमारा education system बहुत वो हो चुका है, dilapidated, politics में उसमें खराब हो गया है. वो जो होता है ना, मैं Protestant schooling के through गया हुआ था, जिस तरह कराची में सेंट पैट्स होता है, मैं सेंट मेरीज अकेडमी पिंडी से पढ़ के गया था. डंडे शंडे पढ़ते थे हमें ऐसे ही तरह. ठीक है, स्कूल में तो हम सीधे हो गए. ठीक है, तो आई थिंक वो एक तरह का डिसिप्लिन आ गया, एक तरह की एस्पिरेशन था. अच्छा, वो पाकिस्तान वाज वेरी, हमारे साथ बंदा एक ऐसा भी होता था जो सेनेटर वसीम सजाद का बेटा होता था, और एक ऐसा बंदा होता था जो साइकिल में भी स्कूल आता था. ठीक, तो आई ऑलवेज से कि यार मेरे में ये क्वालिटी, द एबिलिटी टू डील विद पीपल, व्हिच इज वेरी मच यू नीड अब्रॉड, कि यू डील विद द वेरी रिच एंड नॉट सो रिच, यू हैव एबिलिटी टू डील विद दैट. वो हम में बड़ी हो गई थी. बट आजकल पाकिस्तान में because of the siloization of society, people hang out with their own groups, वो कम है. See, so one of the things that we realized when I was training vocational training was that one of the things we need to train these kids was collaboration across your ethnic group. ठीक है ना, जो बंदा है जो अपने एरिया में रहता है वो अपने बेचारे पठान से बात करेगा, उर्दू स्पीकिंग से करेगा. वो जो दुबई जाता है उसको वहाँ पे फिलिपिनो भी मिलता है, वहाँ पे हिंदू भी मिलता है, वहाँ श्रीलंकन भी मिलता है, वहाँ पे वो मिलता है, वो कंफ्यूज हो जाता है, उसने कभी हिंदी लिखी. आई एम श्योर यू नो व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. सो you know, there is a huge thing about the education. So now you're asking me as a startup to solve the education problem also. So that's also the challenge, that I don't have to do my own thing. I have to solve my entire supply chain, and I have to get there. So the main thing is, we have lots of talent, but we have very limited deployable. जो भी deployable talent है वो LUMS और IBA और GK से बैठ छोड़ के बाहर चला जाता है. I am a big fan of people going abroad. I love that. I did myself, and I want them at some stage to come back, because that's how the Indians and the Chinese came back and they contributed to the country. ठीक है, so इसमें कोई बुरी बात नहीं है. But I want the pipeline to be bigger. I want कि गुजरात यूनिवर्सिटी की क्वालिटी बेहतर हो और बाकी यूनिवर्सिटी की क्वालिटी बेहतर हो, ताकि लोकल भी बिजनेसेस आगे बढ़े. सो टैलेंट की कमी है. Non-structured execution, approach to execution. Because हमारा over last, and this is something which happened over the last 20 years, aspiration बहुत ज़्यादा है बच्चों में, लोगों में, passion बहुत ज़्यादा है, but the discipline or the consistency of consistent hard work to follow that up with consistent action, that is missing. So हमारा जो execution है ना, यकीन मानो आधा वक्त तो मेरा project management में होता है कि यार मैं किस तरह इन लोगों को, किस तरह अपनी team को, and how do I get the team to execute in a structured manner. And you know, when you're running great big businesses, it's all about structured execution. Everyone needs to play to their position. अच्छा, मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ. हमने एक दफा मैं अमन में था, तो हमने लोगों की फुटबॉल, एक कराची यूनाइटेड है, फैंटास्टिक कोच एट कराची यूनाइटेड, हमजा खान, उसने हमारी कोचिंग की कि यार फुटबॉल में हमारी कोचिंग की. इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. तो उसने फुटबॉल, उन्होंने सबको अपनी अपनी पोजीशन पे खड़ा किया फुटबॉल में, एंड देन वी स्टार्टेड. So match start हुआ, आगे पीछे, and then he blew the whistle and he said, stop. Everyone stopped. So every one of us stopped. And then he said, look, which position are you at? ठीक है, तो हम सब, including myself, we were playing in the wrong position. हम सब, जिस जो defend था वो offense पे आ गया था, जो offender था वो left wing पे आ गया था, left wing आ गया, वो उधर आ गया. We don't play to our position. ठीक है, we don't. we do other people's job, but you know, structured execution आपको चाहिए. And I'm not talking about entrepreneurialism खत्म होनी चाहिए, नहीं होनी चाहिए, but you know, a lot of the core work, the basic work has to be structured execution when you scale a business. वो हमारे यहाँ काम है.
You just mentioned here कि ये जुगाड़ approach. So this could be one of the quality actually what we see in the entrepreneur. If there is any jugaad approach, he's street smart or not, or because he needs to run a startup, right? So this is one of the quality. In fact, depends how intense it is, but this is one of the qualities.
Very good point. Also an experience from me. When I joined firm, I hired people, and I hired people who were big personalities, people who are flamboyant and people who had a lot of energy, and everything. And I realized it became kind of out of control, basically, because everyone was doing their own thing. And the system was completely running in different direction. So what I've realized is that in an organization, you need only two people who are good at jugaad, who have the big personality, big idea. Agar everyone becomes a jugaadu, then you don't. Then you can't run an organization. So everything is good. But so I said, look, I'm the jugaad guy. I'm the creative guy. You guys have to do what I want you to do. Yeah, at least 2 or 3 ho gaye. Yaar, har koi to nahi ho sakta na. Come on, guys. I mean, like, come on, you have to run a business. I mean, it's not like everyone wakes up and say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So this is, again, the problem is structured execution nahi hoti. So great entrepreneurs, but, please, guys, time out. Let's control it. Exit opportunities need to be created. ठीक है? So आप invest करेंगे, आपके ख्याल में कि कोई बंदा आएगा. हमारा unfortunately जो family houses है ना, family businesses, they haven't evolved to the level of the Indian family offices. Of family businesses, or maybe even Bangladesh mein, or maybe even other countries mein, jahan pe they buy minority stakes and then take majority stakes and everything. So aapki jo opportunity for exit jo hai na, wo bahut limited hai. So what you need to do is you need to buy and build strategy. So आपने एक चीज खरीदी, फिर उसके बाद एक और चीज खरीदी, फिर एक और चीज खरीदी. So then you create an exit opportunity. You create an asset. So it is not that you build something, you buy something, and somebody's going to buy it. It doesn't happen naturally. Again, when you have an 8-year investment horizon, and when you have this buy and build approach, it will help you do that. Okay? So then let me tell you, okay, good entrepreneurs do not need your money. And those who need it are not the ones you should invest in. So it's a problem that we have, but these are the operational reality of Pakistan. Now this is the slide that is where it kind of comes together in hardcore lessons for everyone, and that I want to go. So boards versus BU heads. See, and this is now I'm speaking to diaspora Pakistanis. And this is again, I think, from what Zeeshan has asked me, the questions and what I've said, it's all now coming together, hopefully into a kind of a cohesive theory, a theory of change. See? So it's easy to put the money, and it's easy to be a board member. See? This works in the rest of the world. In Pakistan, it doesn't work. See? Pakistan boards are too high level, too distant. You need oversight. You need benevolent intrusion into operations in order to bring your excellence into the business, in order to drive the business. See? So diasporas who know what good looks like, diaspora who know they have competed with the world and the best. Your biggest point is not the money. See? Money is fungible, money is everyone. Your biggest point is you have a certain experience, certain exposure. That exposure is operation, and usme aap agar unko help kare, whether it's a lead director or a BU head, or drive a project or drive some element of it, you should not hesitate to take on operating position. That's where I say the VC model, and I know America mein VC is very hands-on. Kabhi aapke sales meeting mein ja rahe hote hain, they open doors for you. I'm talking about even more than that. I'm talking about product development mein aapki help kare, because the talent is not there. I can assure you, if you're gonna go and get a good CTO in Pakistan, you will struggle. You will struggle to find a good CTO. See, I know many people who are looking for it, and you will struggle. See, it's just not that quality, that excellence, that idea, that vision, the software solution architecture, mind, operational, technical knowledge कि आप किसी जुगाड़ू को आप पकड़ सकते हैं, वो नहीं है, बहुत कम है. It's very rare. And again, 5 people, 10, 15, 20 people do not create an industry. You need more people. So आप जब भी सोचें, think of yourself. Okay, how can I operationally create value? And then I put money behind it. So technically you're putting money behind yourself. So it's even better. So you're putting money behind yourself, behind the company, in order to drive it. A lot of entrepreneurs may not like it because not many people like the intrusion, but I think it is where you can, in the interest of Pakistan, you can do something like that. The other thing, which I, again, subsequent to that, is operational versus financial, which is you should not think of yourself as a financial investor. Pakistan is not at a VC stage in traditional sense, which I've already said. If there are 15 deals in a year and there are 5 to 10 VCs, there isn't a VC market. It's not a VC market. The VC market doesn't have depth. Think of it as an operating and financing thing. For operating and financing investment, whereby you are involved in fewer deals because you're more intensely involved, but you are, and you make bigger investments in fewer deals. You can make a baad mein point mein aapko launga, but you're operationally involved in that. Focus on operational value control, value creation, and financial restructuring. Route to market, project management, and back office. They are the biggest problems in Pakistan. Route to market, like marketing strategies, how do you do that, disruptive distribution models, back office, kis tarah aap usko technology system, financial system ko build karte hain ki usko scale kare, and project management, yeah, just to make sure things get done on that. Investments require greater operational investment intention to materialize returns, much more. This is not we see in Silicon Valley, in Israel, in India, whereby you sit on the board, you get those decks, and the things will chug along. They don't. They simply don't. Number third point, the most important. This insight is worth my 3 years of experience in Pakistan. We see and private equity rely on the CFO to control. That is not that effective. Why? Because whenever there is hanky-panky, it is always through collusion. Okay? And if when you're in a collusion, the CFO can't protect it. Okay? CFO can't protect it. And it will happen in ways you will never understand. Because guess what happens? When I landed in Pakistan, the first thing people ask for is a job. Okay? And before you know, your entire family is working in the company. So you have to protect that. And this is not that anyone is bad or anything is like that. It just happens as a matter of culture. मैं इंग्लैंड में होता था 15-10 साल मैंने काम किया मुझे आज तक किसी एक बंदे ने नौकरी के लिए नहीं कहा मैं जब पाकिस्तान में कराची में लैंड आया I became very unpopular in my family because people would come to me and I would say I can either be loyal to you, my family, or I can be loyal to my job. Because the moment someone comes into the firm, I will get compromised. But it is the culture that happens. So you need a very strong head of HR. Because the head of HR is the person through which you implement culture, you implement policies, okay? Which is the place, aapko main puchta hu, where most money leaves the business. Which is the place? It is not through procurement. Okay? It is not through technology. It is through HR. It is through payroll. Okay? Payroll mein sabse zyada paisa nikalta hai. So the tightest control is on the quality of payroll. See, मैं businesses में involved हूँ वहाँ पे expense policies ऐसी बन जाती हैं, leave encashment policies ऐसी बन जाती हैं, before you know पैसा निकल गया. The CFO can't do jack, but your head of HR can. He is the guy through which you can drive your culture. Scaling a business in Pakistan is a cultural transformation because there is nothing out in the segment, in the market, that lends itself to that secret catalyst that you have, the innovation, the excellence, the value system, the teamwork, the collaboration, you need to get a $200 million valuation. There's nothing generally out there in the market like that. So you have to literally build it.
How do you recommend? So in the situation like, again, the startup perspective, they don't have HR. For example, I mean, HR comes after a year or two when the company is raising probably post Series C. So usually the founder himself is wearing different hats. He is responsible for hiring different people. We as a board member, we have a say to hire, not to hire details. But if someone is trying to, have some kind of illusion, then it will happen. It's very hard to stop that.
So first of all, first year, I can imagine that. Okay? But by second year, you have a team put together. My question is, HR generally in Pakistan is a very weak function. And it's not an emphasized function. People don't focus on it. So focus on it. So make someone clear, what are the policies? What are the procedures? What are the performance evaluation systems? What is the incentive system? Put those in place early on. You don't need to hire a person, but at least one of the founding team members can take it, can take that matter and take it very seriously and can take it forward. All I'm saying is HR is your transformation vehicle, and you should use it for that purpose. Policies, performance evaluation, incentive and alignment, and culture building. See? And that's why, but we don't, because everyone is like ops, route to market, selling, this and another, but people forget about HR. And I think HR is a place where you need to have your control, your own person over there to make sure कि यार ये बंदा hiring हो रही है, ठीक हो रही है, नहीं हो रही है, policy सही तरह implement हो रहे हैं, गलत policy नहीं आएगी. Last बात जो मैं करूँगा, वो ये मैं करूँगा कि focus on few deals rather than portfolio effect. देखिए पाकिस्तान में पोर्टफोलियो इफेक्ट पीई की भी फील्ड में, एंड आई कैन कोट यू अदर पीई फंड्स लाइक एटलीस्ट 2, 3, 4 हुए हैं, उनमें से एक अभी चल रहा है, एक फेल कर गया, हमारा भी फेल कर गया, मैंने आई कांट टॉक अबाउट अदर्स बट एटलीस्ट माय सेल्फ. सो पोर्टफोलियो इफेक्ट पाकिस्तान में it's less likely to work because operationally things can go wrong so much, or operationally there are so many things that need to be sorted out. So I would say Peter Thiel 0 to 1 में कहता था कि जी focus. So as a diaspora, focus on, if you want money to focus on 5 deals, do 2 deals. ठीक है, select your verticals, select your जिस तरह मैं कहता हूँ more active operational involvement, building sectoral platform. क्या यार मुझे retail का sector पसंद है, मुझे education का, मुझे health care, 2 sector पसंद कर ले, उसके अंदर जाए, get more in-depth involvement and make concentrated bets. ठीक है, और bring in your operational expertise. This is my last slide. This is my recommendation to important possible path for impact and returns, because we do it for the purpose of impact but also financial returns. We want to build the venture capital system in Pakistan, and that's why we do it. So what is it? Think first as an operator. Think first as an operator, then as an investor. So first they say, can I make a contribution to this team which will help them move the needle forward? First think like that, and that should be your point. Yeah, I like the industry and everything, and these are people who are open to me and I can help them do that. So you're actually protecting your investment, you're helping those entrepreneurs grow. So आपने जिस तरह की बात की Zeeshan, you need to have the right kind of ecosystem, right companies to grow those talent. So technically you're mentoring them. Technically, you're their colleagues, you're helping them become better entrepreneurs. Even myself, I would say that is the thing that in Pakistan, I lack or other people lack. So you need to have first thing as an operator, then think as an investor. Last one, the third one is focused bets. Better than diversify to take focused bets. ये बहुत ज़्यादा important है कि आप वो करें. और lastly, skin in the game. I'm a big fan of Nassim Nicholas Taleb and his book Skin in the Game. देखिए आपको लोगों को, you need to create skin in the game with the local entrepreneur. Like create an opportunity will make them insanely rich if they if they're successful. You have to create an alignment कि वो उनका सारा interest यही है कि यार how do I increase the size of the pie? A lot of the times what happens is, and this is what I love about the US, when I was raising the fund in the US may, whenever I used to come to fundraisers, it's the only country in the world, even in Europe. I was slightly younger at that time. I was less than 40. I was like 36, 37, 38. So nobody in America would ask me, who's the senior guy behind you? Who's the gray hair behind you? Because it's a country that cherishes youth and young and the energy of it. Pakistan में, बाहर या Middle East में हर जगह कहते हैं अच्छा यार बच्चे आप बताएं आप अच्छे हैं, but आपके पीछे बड़ा कौन पीछे है? ठीक है आपका, you have that there, because what they see is that the person has drive. If he has the right skill set and if he has aligned, if he has the right skin in the game, he will make the impossible happen. He will make, and that's what creates the skin in the game and the alignment, that you have someone who has a lot to lose and someone who has a lot to gain. A lot of the times we get very fascinated by big industrial group and their connections and their wealth. But think about it. If that fund fails, If that fund fails, if it will not make a dent to their profitability, to their lifestyle, to their reputation, then they don't have skin in the game. See? So you're better off betting on people who basically will take a big dent, both in their reputation, in their financial, in their future projection, if they fail. See? That's the kind of things that I would be looking for. And you help them get backing of big families and other people, but essentially look for that and always be very mindful that people have a lot of connections and these are very jazzy and they are very powerful and this and another. यार देखो काम करने में सारा काम हो जाता है, कोई मसला नहीं है. Main thing is person should be passionate, should be driven, and should know, okay, if I do well, I will get the reward of it and it will change my life. Okay? That often never happens with the established big business groups, because guess what? This is an experiment, or this is a side story for them, and hence it does not matter that much. So I think with that, I would end my talk. I think we've gone a long, way long, but hopefully people found it interesting, our back and forth and our laughter and some of the jokes that we had, and we can we are open to any questions that they might be.
It was great. So we have some questions in the chat box, so I'll just take some of them since we are already like over 1 hour. So one of the question is, what was the change in management style or lessons learned from managing top talent to managing mass talent?
Okay, so what was the change in style? Number one, learn Urdu. ठीक है, Urdu is very important. Urdu में ना शेर व शायरी करे और गाना सीख ले तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. ठीक है, because it makes you endearing with people and you know. So look, I mean, you have to when you're doing a town hall and you're able to sing, it can make you very persuasive. ठीक है, because you become like one of everyone. So I'm telling you. So number one, Urdu में बात किया करें. ये बड़ी होती है, because of course हम forget कर जाते हैं अब हमारे आपस में बात करके कि you know the majority of the language that people speak in Pakistan and they're comfortable with and they don't feel threatened, ठीक है, they don't feel intimidated. देखिए हम लोगों की different बात है. Sometimes people feel intimidated just when they hear good English, ठीक? And so one have to be mindful of it. So I think number one that, number two मैंने कहा Urdu, number two is you know you have to be very humble. So मेरी एक तस्वीर थी जो कि आपने मेरे front page पे आपने देखी होगी. ये
I think that is
I'm
correct.
sitting on the floor. I'm sitting on the floor. See? So you're sitting on the floor, you have to be very humble and you have to really go to people's and ask them for their opinion. Never start with giving your solution. Always ask them their question and respect them for what they've, you know, for the knowledge that they have. So that's what, there are many other things that you can do, but yeah, मैं अपना जो ambulance drivers होते थे मैं उनका uniform पहना करता था. So sometimes what would happen, एक दफा माने में TLP का ये जो नहीं तहरीक लब्बैक वगैरह का एक दफा जलसा हो गया था कराची में, and it became quite scary, खतरा शुतरा हो गया था. So I went on an ambulance and I wore the suit, हमारे जो ambulance का जो drivers और paramedics होता है उनका uniform होता है. So I wore the suit and I went with them in the ambulance in that time and I too went around the city. So you have to be very much operational on the ground. You cannot be a high level person. If you are a high level person giving orders from the top, I think sooner or later you'll become very unpopular.
Okay, so interesting. Next question is, so having, you know, all the challenges you just mentioned, what are the 2 or 3 key issues to focus on to attract investors? Because at the end of the day, right, we need investors, right? 2 or 3 I mean, issues to address to attract investors. Yeah.
2 to 3 key issues to address attract investors.
So we have this list of issues, right? So an entrepreneur in Pakistani ecosystem sitting there want to raise fund from outside probably or within Pakistan. So, and the investor understands these issues. So what are the key issues he needs to focus on?
Okay, so I think the key issue I would say, I think is the lack of depth in technology. आई थिंक टेक्नोलॉजी टैलेंट मेरे ख्याल में मैं पिछले 3 महीने से 4 महीने में मैं कोई चीज डेवलप कर रहा हूँ और मुझे लिटरली रोना आ गया है बिकॉज मुझे सही टैलेंट नहीं मिल रहा and I can't pay रियाल और I can't pay a dollar thing so I'm a local guy I have to do that so I think जिस तरह ये आप लोग आई कोड गुरु के आपने बताया टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप लोगों को अपग्रेड कर रहे हैं तो वो आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी गुड एरिया जो है सो आई थिंक एक तो ये है कि आई थिंक टेक्नोलॉजी कोडिंग स्किल सेट एट स्केल which can be developed आपको पता है केनिया वेनिया वगैरह में इस तरह की काफी ज्यादा स्टार्टअप्स आई हैं जिसमें फेसबुक वगैरह इन्वेस्ट किया है जहां पे आप 1 साल में 2 साल में आप यू प्रोड्यूस बेस्ट ऑफ द क्लास कोडर्स होता है आई थिंक एक मैं अपने ख्याल से मेरा वो एक वो है दूसरा जो एनवायरनमेंट है वो है फॉरेन करेंसी इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड रिपेट्रिएशन का है बट आई थिंक विद द डिजिटल फॉरेन डिजिटल अकाउंट और जो कुछ है उससे दैट मे बी जो अगर रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट जो खुला है गवर्नमेंट से उससे थोड़ा बहुत वो एड्रेस हो जाएगा एंड दैट होल थिंग दैट यू पुट द मनी इन देयर and then you can't take the money out which will be addressed I think will be addressed in one form or another.
Okay, good. So let's take last question, and probably I'm sorry for the people who have posted the questions here, but I cannot because of the limitation of the time. So have you thought of, I think this is pretty much all VCs functioning in Pakistan, so have you thought of bringing any seasoned professional who have a strong sector specific knowledge as operating partners? A typical, GPLP or a VC fund structure where we have a vertical expert sitting with them.
Absolutely. So देखिए मैं Cordoba Ventures हूँ, but I'm not a venture fund. I'm a venture builder. So basically, what I've done is I've realized that there are not enough entrepreneurs there. I will become an entrepreneur myself, and I will raise money on my head. Basically, I will raise money on the of the things that I'll develop. So that question doesn't apply to me per se because yeah. I'm building a healthcare vertical. But I think जो venture capital firms हैं, they should focus on certain verticals. ठीक है बिकॉज मुझे इतना पता है कि इवन सिलिकॉन वैली वगैरह में जो फर्म्स है दे आर वेरी स्पेशलाइज्ड कहते हैं वो सोलर पैनल में भी कोई वो पीवी और कुछ पैनल्स में स्पेशलाइज करेंगे they specialize very and that's why they can make an investment decision in a week's time ठीक है ना हमारे यहाँ एक वीसी की डील क्लोज करते करते 3 महीने लग जाते हैं बट वहां पे जल्दी हो जाता है सो आई थिंक दैट एलिमेंट क्रिएटिंग a roster of operating partners ठीक है and you incentivize them through equity and everything is a good idea because it will give them the operational insights focus on 2-3 different sectors and then bring in on board those partners it's a great idea I agree with that.
Okay, great, amazing, very great session. Thank you very much, Ahmad. A lot of insights. I've learned a lot from this session, especially what's happening. What I've learned is, I mean, there are a lot of issues that Pakistan has. It's very common to what we have here. So at least we will learn together and try to sort that out. But the good thing is, it's improving, right? There are a lot of developments happening, and hopefully Pakistan will be is already moving in the right direction. And we see a lot of VCs and money flowing into Pakistan and having good quality startups. Hopefully, inshallah, we'll see more good quality startups and entrepreneurs in the future. Any closing remarks?
No, excellent. I think believe in Pakistan. I had the opportunity to leave Pakistan in 2018 to become a global innovation fund managing director in London. But I decided because I'm here where I need to be. And my value here is more than my value being in London or Silicon Valley. And that's only because I do believe in the opportunity of Pakistan. It is very frustrating. At times it takes longer than you imagine, but I think one must always believe in Pakistan, but one must also act in the right way, which I said is just your passion is not enough, just your money is not enough. Bring your skill set, bring your time, bring your attention to the game. And I think if you do the game, bring the game to it, aap kahen ki yaar ye industry ko main khada kar dunga. I think together with Pakistani entrepreneurs, with venture capitalists, with diaspora, we can play a fantastic innings in order to build the ecosystem, the venture capital, and create a truly first Pakistani billion-dollar company.
We'll play Misbah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, guys.
Have a nice rest of the day. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.